Welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. Good afternoon, everyone. That was pretty weak. Good afternoon, everyone. Rotary Club of Tulsa is where a bunch of good people come together and do great things around the world and in our community. I got to let you know, Tom is a real pro. I just nod at Tom. He clicks a little notes and ends the song just like that. Thank you for helping this morning, Tom. Let's take a quick moment and greet each other, especially the round badges. Okay, we have a great program today, so let's go ahead and get started. Becky Sholin's going to lead us in a song and pledge. Michael Turner, visitor introductions. If you'll join me now for the invocation. We come to you with open hearts, hopefully open minds, and certainly a heart for service. Thank you for implanting all those traits in our makeup. Help it guide our decisions for this club and in this community. With all these blessings that you shower upon us, help us to reflect upon them in the way that we talk, walk, and act in the community and with each other. We thank you for the service opportunities that you give us and the country that has empowered us either financially or with the freedom of speech and freedom to perform those services in the community. Thank you again for this food. Help it to nourish our bodies. Amen.
Good afternoon. Would you join me in God Bless America? Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do an abbreviated visitor version today, but I'm going to start at this side of the room. If you're a visitor with us today, stand up with your guest real quick. Can you shout out your name, sir? Welcome. Terry, welcome. Adam? Welcome. Welcome. Nice to have you, Danny. Anybody else? Any other visitors? Oh, we got, what was your name?
Caroline.
Caroline. All right, Caroline, thank you. I see Stephanie Edwards. Oh, welcome. Oh, and a table full. Okay. I'm sorry? Hey, Sandra. Hi, Nancy. Valerie. And you're all here with Becky? Oh, go Becky. Hi, Bill and Rachel. Nice to have you. Do we have any other visitors this morning? All right. Do we have any visitors? Let's give them all a round of applause. Do we have any visiting Rotarians with us today besides Mr. Will Smith? Great to have you back, man. Somebody, and I mean that in a loving way, because I didn't even recognize you either. Hi, Brian from Sand Springs. I heard a name over here. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We have a different little order today. Our speaker is a a high-powered agent, and she has a high-powered client that's running a really high-powered 40-yard dash today, is that right? Which will determine his draft order, and she needs to be there or be available. So we're going to go right into introducing our Rotarian of the Day. Casey King is our Rotarian of the Day, and he's the senior sales manager at Doubletree, Tulsa, downtown for the past 8 years. He joined our club in December of 2008. He's a past chair of Above and Beyond Awards, co-chaired IBA in 2017, which is this year, right? Wow, you're a busy dude. Was secretary treasurer this year and budget chair last year. He's been married to Melissa since '07 and they have 2 children, Brooklyn and Boston, and he enjoys chasing them around and coaching and playing basketball and tennis. So help me welcome our Rotarian of the Day, Casey King.
Okay. Today is International Women's Day, and what better speaker could we have than Kelli Masters? Kelli is a lifelong Oklahoman, an attorney, a certified NFL sports agent. She's founder and president of KMM Sports, a full-service sports management company based in Oklahoma City. She continues to practice law as an off-council member of Feller Snyder Law Firm, while also representing athletes in football, baseball, and Olympic sports. In 2010, Kelli became the first woman to represent a first-round pick in the NFL draft and continues to fight for opportunities for women in a very male-dominated industry. She's a former Miss Oklahoma, a graduate of the University of Oklahoma, with degrees in journalism and law. She's a sought-after writer and speaker on topics of sports law, nonprofit organization law, and leadership. So please welcome Kelli Masters.
Thank you all so much, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here. I'm thankful it worked out. March is a very busy season for me, but I am blessed to be here with you all and to be able to share a bit of my journey with you and some of the lessons that I've learned along the way, and hope to leave you with some sort of an impact. Although I promise you, you do not want to see me run a 40-yard dash. Praying that my client does a great job this afternoon. Before I get started, I wanted to share a quick video with you, something that I just did as part of a Women in Progress campaign for Motrin. So let's go ahead and show that video. I remember one of the well-known agents putting his finger in my face and saying, "What are you doing here? How many clients do you have?" I said, "I'm an agent and I have 1 player." He laughed and said, "Well, honey, let me tell you why you don't belong here. Women will never make it in this industry." My blood was boiling. It was absolutely infuriating. My first 5 years as an agent, I felt like I was the only woman for miles. 900 men and me. I had to battle just to find an opportunity. Yeah, I understand. People said to me I would never be respected, that I was going to be a joke. It just lit a fire inside of me. What if what makes me different makes me better? I am a fierce advocate. I have an instinct. I am going to fight to protect the people that I believe in, the people that I care about. I had never had a player actually drafted, but then I went into the draft with a very promising player. We just sat there watching his phone, watching my phone, watching the clock, and suddenly my client's phone rang. And he started crying. I had just watched someone's dreams come true. And at that moment, I became the first woman to represent a first-round pick in the draft. If I didn't experience that pain, I would never have been able to grow. To date, I have signed more than 30 players to professional teams. The sky's the limit, and I'm going to keep persevering. No one can tell me I don't belong here. I'm Kelli, and I'm a woman in progress. I don't know why I still get emotional watching that. It was really interesting. That video, it was just released about 3 weeks ago. I was in New York for the PR launch, and it has by far created the largest response of anything that I've ever done in my career. And I've been very blessed. I've worn the title of Miss Oklahoma and the crown and traveled around the state and the nation as a speaker. I've done a number of articles, and I just chalked it up to the fact that I have a weird job. It's a very unique job, and I'm one of the few women who do what I do. But it's ironic and interesting that the most impact that I have made thus far with the opportunities that I've been given have been by sharing pain and sharing a painful moment. I remember getting the call that I was being considered for the campaign, and they wanted to do a Skype interview with me and talk about if I had any painful moments. And I said, well, how many hours can we talk on this video? I have way more low points than high points. Everyone just sees the high points. And isn't that so true with all of us? We try to put our best foot forward. When we put out information on social media, or we want to inspire people. We get an opportunity to stand before a group and share. They read off a list of our accomplishments, and we want people to see our accomplishments. But one of my friends told me not too long ago, she said, Kelli, you have an opportunity to impress a lot of people with your success, but you have an even bigger opportunity to impact them by being vulnerable. So I'm going to share a few things with you, which, by the way, while I'm pulling this up, one of the funniest moments in being able to go to do that type of a piece was that I was the only one that was not an actor in that. That was my real life story, but everybody else that they brought in were actors. But the funny thing was the actors didn't realize I wasn't an actor. And so we shot the signing, the fake signing. I was signing a player sitting at a table in a conference room, and we got done after about an hour of over and over, take after take, doing it over and over again. And the player got up and he said, wow, you really studied for this role. You sound so convincing. I said, no, I'm a terrible actor. That's my real job. So, if someone had, and Casey did a wonderful job with the introduction and sharing some of my highlight reel, but as every time I sit and listen to a highlight reel of my life, these are the things that play in my head. Kelli has been a failure. She's been fired by several clients. She's trusted the wrong people. She's been lied about. She's been threatened. She's been attacked. She went for a time, even after graduating from law school, that she had to sleep in a car or on friends' couches for weeks. Her bank account has been overdrawn. She has struggled with low self-esteem and how to make ends meet. She has had her dreams crushed. She has crumbled when criticism came from others. She has spent many holidays alone, without family or friends. She has had to ask for help. She has felt discouraged and has wanted to quit. And all of those things have happened since great successes and since great high points in my life. And I'm sharing those with you, and it takes courage to share those things, to share that we all have painful moments, that just because we have one success in life doesn't mean we've arrived. Life is a process. Success in life is a process. It is never a straight line. It is never a direct ascension to the top of the mountain. There are setbacks, there are failures, there are painful moments. But you know what? Thank God for painful moments. Because without those moments, without failures, without going through moments when you're hitting rock bottom, at least for me, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, I would never have grown as a person. I would never have become as strong as I have in life. I would never have found that living with purpose was more important than trying to please others. I would have lived in constant fear of what if. And quite honestly, fear of letting people down drove me for years and years. Amazingly, having the courage to share painful moments, share failures, share setbacks, has given me so much more confidence. And so much more, it's helped me overcome and realize that I don't need to live in shame. I don't need to live in fear. And so something that I would encourage all of you all today is people around you, the people in your lives, the people you work with, the people you lead, the people in your own home, your own family members and extended family members. Let them see your vulnerability. Don't be afraid to share your failures, to share your flaws. When you do that, you empower other people to go, you know what? It's okay that I'm not perfect either. I thought they had it all together. And that's when people meet me, when emails come in on a daily basis from young people, particularly young women, they always sound the same. It's, you've been so successful, you've got it all together. I want to be you. I want to have your life. And I always say, gosh, you need to see the real me. You need to see what this is really like. It's not just a highlight reel. It's not just a series of successes. And granted, I'm so thankful for those amazing high points, winning Miss Oklahoma, going to the Super Bowl with a winning Super Bowl client, being in the draft room to represent a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Those are all incredibly rewarding moments. How much more do I appreciate those moments, having been at the bottom, having been defeated, having been fired, having failed miserably? Gave me such an appreciation for the high points. But I find that being able to share not just my high points, but also the low moments and the things that I learned. You don't learn at the top of the mountain. You don't learn when you succeed. You look for that next challenge of what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do next? And I never would have had those if my life had all been high points. I have grown. So success is a process. Pain is an important part of that process. And being vulnerable allows you to make an impact on people's lives. To step back and share a little bit of my journey, I did not always want to be an agent. I did not watch the movie Jerry Maguire and decide that's what I wanted to do with my life, although a lot of people do, and I hear from them on a daily basis. I went to law school after graduating with a journalism degree. I won the title of Miss Oklahoma while I was in law school, but I also had a real soul-searching time in my life. As I had alluded to previously, I had been very, very driven by fear. I achieved in my life out of a fear of what happens if I'm not perfect, what happens if I don't look perfect and act perfect and accomplish great things. Will anyone care? Will anyone look up to me? Will anyone respect me? Will anyone love me? And my whole life was driven out of a fear and having to look perfect and have it all together and try to convince everybody around me that I had it all together. And I reached a point where that just, it doesn't work. Living at whatever age, and I now talk to people of all ages that deal with the same fear, that same not wanting to let anyone down. And I think that's innate in all of us. We don't want to let people down. At the same time, the power comes when you are vulnerable and you do realize, you know what, it's okay not to have it all together. It's okay not to have all the answers. Some of the most powerful conversations I ever had with my mother, who I thought, I idolized, of course, my mom and my dad growing up, but some of the most impactful, powerful conversations I've had with her have come later in life as she has shared some of the struggles that I had no idea were going on. The battles, the worry, the moments that my parents so carefully hid from my sister and I. Those are the things, those conversations have given me more strength and more power, realizing, wow, my parents were so strong. And my fear of never living up to that, I suddenly realized they're people too, and they fought through some really, really tough battles. That gave me strength to know I could take on my own battles as well. So went to law school, went through my soul-searching time, literally almost dropped out of law school because I just was so tired of trying to please everyone else selfishly. I wanted to discover what it truly meant to serve and to be selfless. So I almost dropped out of law school to go be a missionary. Unfortunately, I had an amazing mentor in my life who said, Kelli, why don't you actually pray and ask God if he wants you to be a missionary, not just assume that that's what you're supposed to do. So I spent time and I really considered and prayed and really wanted to make sure that I was hitting the mark and doing what I was supposed to do with my life, not just what I thought I was supposed to do with my life or what looked good. I discovered very quickly I was probably not cut out for being a missionary. I can't even go camping. So being in a place without creature comforts would have been very difficult for me. But that was my heart, was how can I make an impact on the world? How can I make an impact on my community and this nation and people who are less fortunate? How can I do that? How can I find ways to serve? Because that's where I realized I was called. Now, it may sound interesting that led to me becoming a sports agent. I'll make the connection here in a minute. But I decided that I was supposed to finish law school and make one of the emphasis areas of my law practice nonprofit tax-exempt organization law. Because of that one decision, I have been able to impact hundreds and hundreds of nonprofit organizations, including many, many missionaries around the world, and make their dreams come true and see that their vision to make an impact in their whatever arena they're in, I've enabled them to do that, and God has used me to make a much bigger difference than I ever could have just as one person on my own. And one of those nonprofit organizations that I was working with during my 5th year of law practice was an organization that was started by a former NFL player. And that opened my eyes to the world of professional athletes. I had grown up as an athlete. I'd been around athletes. I had a level of respect for athletes that dedicated their lives to the sacrifices and the discipline that it takes to be great at a sport. Never saw myself working in sports. Didn't know it was a possibility. But quite honestly, when a mom sat across the table from me and said, you know, Kelly, you really need to pray about and consider becoming an agent because there are families like ours that would have loved to have had someone like you in our corner. So I basically went on a quest for a year, trying to learn and find out, what does it mean to be a sports agent? What does it mean? What does that title entail? What are the job responsibilities? And quite honestly, if I stood up here and listed all of the responsibilities of a sports agent, we would be here a while, and I would miss my player running his 40. But it was a whole new world for me, and for the first time at age 32, I discovered this is what I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do with my life. This is why, looking back, I could see all of the twists and turns in my path and in my journey and realized I was heading here. This is my purpose. So I now have the opportunity, as I call it, to influence the influencers. I meet an athlete at the very threshold of when they are making important decisions about their future, moving from being a student athlete to being a professional athlete. I get to come alongside an athlete and his family, and they're kiddos. They're young. They're 21, 22 years old, sometimes younger. And they are about to be granted opportunities, a platform, and far more resources than most young people their age. More than they've ever imagined, more than maybe they've dreamed about it, but suddenly it becomes a reality for them, and that is very overwhelming. That world is very overwhelming, and the whole reason I made the decision to become an agent was because as I looked around the industry, I realized that the statistic was true. More than 80% of professional athletes end up worse after their financially, legally, family relationships end up far worse after their careers than before. Most of them end up broke or broken people, or both. And I just made a decision that it was part of my calling to impact one life at a time as a sports agent. Since then, I've worked with dozens and dozens of players. 30 have actually, just over 30, have actually played professionally in the NFL or in baseball or have competed in the Olympics. Had some incredible opportunities to travel the globe with my athletes. We've actually gone on mission trips together, so that dream has come full circle as we go and impact people around the globe. But it's interesting because that journey, I truly, and I hear this all the time, a friend of mine who's also in the business just said to me the other day, she said, Kelly, you have such a heart to help people and to give, and you're just one of the sweetest people I've ever known, but you get viciously attacked more than any person I know. Why is that? And someone observing from the outside, watching my life and saying that kind of at first made me think, gosh, maybe, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. But you know what? That shows me that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I am making an impact. I am standing up and fighting for and influencing people who desperately need to be influenced because of the influence they have on the community. Sports has way more of an impact than it should, but it does. We all talk about it. We talk about what the athletes do on Sundays or on Monday nights. And our kids, our youngsters are influenced by athletes. Athletes are the most prevalent and influential celebrities we have. And so to be put in a position where I am fighting to do the right things the right way, make an eternal and lasting impact on the lives of these very influential people, of course I'm going to be attacked. Of course I'm going to be on the front lines. But as I said in the very beginning, pain is part of a success story. It always will be. It always will be present. If I ever reach a place in my life where I am completely comfortable, no battles, no worries, I'm going to really know that something is wrong. Because a passionate, purposeful, successful life is always going to be full of those painful moments. What I would encourage you with today is, as I said in the beginning, don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed of your failures. Don't be afraid or ashamed to share the life lessons that you've learned, the times you've fallen flat on your face. Don't try to be perfect. We can impress other people with our success, or we can impact them with our vulnerability. Thank you all so much for having me today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend. God bless. I guess we have a few minutes for questions. Does anyone have a question? Yes, right here in the middle.
Have you ever had to cut a client loose because you didn't feel that they were starting down the wrong path?
About a week ago, yes. So the question is, have I ever had to cut a client because I didn't feel they were going down the right path? When I came into the business, I thought I knew what I was getting into, and I thought that every 21, 22-year-old, 6'5", 300-pound guy would listen to everything I said. And it just doesn't always happen. I'm blessed. I have some incredible clients who do listen to me. They do consult with me. I'm basically their general counsel, their business manager, their sometimes marriage counselor, their attorney, obviously their advocate, their agent, their PR specialist. I handle crises for them. So I pretty much am on call 24/7 all the time. And sometimes there are athletes that as much as you want to surround them with the right people, help them make the right decisions, they just don't want to do things their own way, and they don't want to listen. And so yes, just probably the last one was about a week ago when I said, I've done everything I can, but at the end of the day, I can't just keep spinning my wheels if you're not going to do the right things. And I had to walk away. And I've lost more than I've made in the business. I think I've walked away from several $1 million over the years simply because I did not want to be, I didn't want to waste my time anymore. But I have a very, very long rope and offer quite a bit of grace to my clients, so it doesn't happen that often. His name is David Moore. Watch for him on Sundays. He played for a little school called East Central in Oklahoma. Anyone heard of been to East Central? Any graduates of East Central? Maybe a few people who have been down there. He was a sleeper. I started getting calls from NFL scouts during the fall saying, you've got to come see this receiver. He's 6'2", 220, and runs a 4.2, 940. So he should be playing somewhere on Sundays, and we'll hear his name on draft day. So and he's a fantastic young man with a great family. So I'm really blessed. Yes.
Since you are unique in your industry,
Mm-hmm.
how has that played out with the owners or the representatives of the teams that you meet with?
Very good question. So he wanted to know how is being unique, being a woman in this industry, how has that basically impacted dealings with or relationships with general managers and coaches and owners. And honestly, it's been really interesting. From the very beginning, I had to really come out of my shell when I first got in the business and act way more confident than I was in those circumstances. But I found that on the football side, on the football business side, I was very well received. I heard the same thing over and over. You're a breath of fresh air. It's so nice to talk to someone who genuinely cares about our clients, and it's not about ego. It's just about doing great business and making great impact. and helping players really have a great plan of success for their lives. And so I was not just who I am and that I'm a woman, but the way I approached the business and the way I approached really making a difference and doing things the right way, it was apparently very refreshing to a lot of people. I've never really had a significant amount of pushback on the football business side. And there are a number of women have been involved on the business side of the NFL for years, far more involved than people realize. On the agent side, of course, every agent wants to differentiate themselves and find what makes them different and makes them better and special. And I was very obviously different, and so I just used that and immediately saw that as, this is not a negative, this is a positive. Most of the players that I work with were raised by single moms who are very strong women, and so they have a level of respect. But it was different. I would walk into a meeting and the whole family would just go, wait a minute, you're a girl. Like, yeah, got that. But yes, and I've in the beginning, because it was so unusual to see a woman in that role, I got the strangest questions. I had a dad that said, I've looked it up, and I think there are only about 10 women that have ever actually been certified by the NFL. Don't you think that speaks to your ability to handle this job? So I got that question. I got a mother who said, I don't need my son to have another mother. Thank you very much. You're not going to be in the picture. I actually, just a couple of years ago, signed a player, very good player out of Arkansas, whose head coach really wanted him to sign with his agent. And the coach called the parents shortly after I signed the player and said, I cannot believe you would let your son sign with a girl. Amazing that still exists. And I could live offended. If I wanted to, I could get offended every day. Instead, I just, I kind of look at him and go, bless your heart. You don't understand. And I fight, and I use that as fuel. And I laugh, a lot of times I laugh off comments that other people would get offended about. And I say, okay, let's get serious. Let's talk business here. And then, I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but I had a scout at one point just a few weeks ago say, when I talk to you, I forget that I'm talking to a woman. Like, oh, yeah, don't say that to anybody else. I think, any time that you get criticized, you can either crumble or you can view it as one of my friends says, anytime you're criticized or get some sort of a negative something thrown at you, as a friend of mine reminded me, it is just information. It is not actually personally damaging you in any way. It's, yes, words hurt, but if you just view the negative information as, it's just information. It just tells me where that person is. It tells me how that person thinks. It gives me some feedback on how to appropriately deal with this person. If you realize, if I started stepping back and realizing, they can try to say negative things to me and I can feel attacked, but it didn't actually do anything to me. It's just information. And from there on, I can figure out, okay, this is how I deal with this person. So keep that in mind too. When you get a negative comment or someone saying something to you that is cutting or inappropriate, it's just information on where they are, not you. Yeah, in the back.
Follow-up to the first question. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that there was a successful college quarterback and he made some personal mistakes. What financially or recruiting-wise for the NFL?
And so, explain your question in talking to him, talking to teams about him, or talking to.
Would unbecoming behaviors impair financial success significantly?
This is so sad to say, but it's a sliding scale. The more talented players honestly can get away with more. And I hate that. And, at the end of the day, it does. There are 32 NFL teams. Some teams will immediately, quote, take a guy off their board if there's an inappropriate, if there's criminal conduct, if there is drug use, if there is something that, that occurs negatively that would potentially impact a team's fan base. At the end of the day, they're businesses. They want to win and they want to make money. And if a team views a player as having too much personal baggage that would negatively impact either his play on the field or their ability to sell tickets, then they're going to shy away from him. But there's always one team that's willing to take a risk. I think the critical thing is these, as I've mentioned several times, athletes, particularly football players that are going into the draft, they're young, they make mistakes very publicly, and it really is the difference is, do they learn from those mistakes? Are they really a bad person, or are they just a good kid that was in a really bad situation or made a really awful decision with their life? And how do they recover from that? We all fall flat on our faces. And just imagine if that was spread on ESPN. We can judge and say, oh, they messed up way more than I ever would. But what if all of your mistakes were put on public display? And I often think of that. And my goal when I meet with a player who maybe has had some baggage, some negatives happen in his life is, who are you really as a person? What really defines you? And what steps are you taking now to improve those areas of life? What did you learn? And you can figure out pretty quickly if a player has learned from a mistake or if he's making excuses for a mistake. Personally, when I attach my name to a client, he reflects on me just like I reflect on him. And I don't shy away from problem children because I know I can make a difference, but they actually have to be willing to change. Yep. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for being a pioneer and bringing us that story. We have a book that we will give our adopted school, City of Clinton Elementary, in your honor, and it's Very Important Things, an encyclopedia of. So thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the backside. We had a lot of people pull off this program today. Their names are on the screens there. If you don't mind, help me give them some appreciative applause. We have the distinct honor of bringing in a new member today, so I want to ask Jamie to come forward and introduce her.
This is Mandy Winton. Mandy is a diehard political junkie. She first got involved in politics back as a junior at the University of Oklahoma. She grew up in Norman. She volunteered on Election Day 2002, so that was her first opportunity. And in a few short years, she was ready to dive in headfirst and start helping with campaigns. She's worked on several campaigns, and I happen to know that two people she's worked with very recently got elected. So that's not what she does that for fun. That's not her actual job. I'll tell you that in a minute. She has worked as a legislative assistant in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. In 2007, she was there working as a legislative assistant for two members. She's worked for City Council, County Commissioner, the U.S. House of Representatives. In 2008, she began working for the Oklahoma Department of Education under Superintendent Sandy Garrett. She focused on technology integration and working with the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council. She worked there, I think, about 4 years and came to Tulsa in 2013, so she's been here since then. I first met Mandy at the Oklahoma Center for Community and Justice when I was working there, and she was a volunteer, and she ran our Young Leadership Program, was on the board, and then I got the opportunity to hire her, and she is now the Director of Development there. She does fundraising, communications, and has been instrumental in the expansion of that organization to now having an office also in Oklahoma City. She is the current president of the League of Women Voters of Tulsa and is a member of the board of the Oklahoma Board of Directors and vice chair of the board for the Oklahoma After School Network. She's a live music fanatic, an OU football fanatic, just an all-around fanatic. And last year, she was very successful in getting help me remember his name, the manager of the Thunder in Oklahoma City. Sam Presti. She's also a fan there, and we were fortunate to get Sam Presti to be our dinner honoree for OCCJ in Oklahoma City, so she's got great contacts there if you need that. At any rate, I'm very happy to know her and very happy to welcome her into this Rotary, and here is your pin.
I was polite about it. So you went to the Green Day concert with Casey last night?
I did. I was there. And I was
Yeah?
next on Monday.
So you went to Toby Keith with me last fall?
I was there.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey, now's the time when we ask the SARS to come forward,
and I'm here.
but you don't look the same.
Well, no, what's different?
You're taller,
I'm always tall.
you're blonder.
I'm blonder.
Oh my gosh.
You know, that's one thing about Charles Seacrest. He might be funnier
He's been
than
blonde
me.
before.
Well, but now he cannot outdo me when it comes to hairstyle, hair color, nothing. So is Charles here today? He'll have to watch the recording. Oh, look, there he is. So I started out with hair this long and brunette, and look at me today. So before we get started, you know, now that the speaker's gone, let's loosen you up a little bit. You're a little bit, you know, there. Now, everybody who's ever been around him knows he is a fun guy, so let your hair down. Let your hair down.
You don't want to see that side. Like she said, if my mistakes were on ESPN, it'd be, what is that, Showtime After Dark or whatever it is?
Well, I was kind of thinking when she was talking about the people who get away with stuff, I thought that's sort of like the sergeant at arms role. You know, if you can be nice like 95% of the time, you can be pretty naughty the other 5%. And
Why'd
not
you
get-
leave me, by the way?
Excuse me?
No, you could have stayed here.
No,
Okay.
this is my place. This is my circle. So, okay, well, let's start out by saying during the speaker, I heard about $300 worth of phones going off. Did
Is that what that was?
Did anybody else notice that, about $300 worth of phones going off? So, so just out of respect for our speakers, I think that let's turn those phones off or bring lots of money to Catherine, okay? There you go. Okay, so let's get on with our slides. There they are. Going to start out, we have a tribute to Jack Mandeville from Ben and Kathy Gorell. As most of you know, we lost a great Rotarian, and so this is a tribute to him. So thank you, Kathy Gorell, for that. And Kathy Gorell, where's my lovely chairwoman of the board? There she is. It is her birthday. Well, it was her birthday on March 5th, so she has given us a generous donation of $127, 48th anniversary. She's celebrating 9 years in Rotary, and you all have to do the math to guess her birthday, but happy birthday to a lovely, lovely person. David Downing, where's David? There he is, woohoo! Okay, $100, happy birthday on February 28th. There he is out playing in the snow. And he was out playing in the snow. Where were you, David?
Snowmass, Colorado.
There you go. With some other Rotarians. Russ Gibbs and Jerry Stamper, and then with Dan Alabak, who is not a Rotarian, but should be. So you need... Southeast. Okay, there you go. Well, this is his last year in the 50s, so he says, and you'd never know it. He's like a kid. So, so there you go. So have a fun 59 year, and thank you for your generous donation. Oh, okay. So I want to talk about this first. Some of you got my email, and boy, next week I've been getting emails like crazy.
Next week, my hair will be down.
Oh.
And we are going to have a mess of a time, so you better be here.
Okay, well, that's good, because otherwise your roast is going to be pretty dry. So, okay, so Keith Bailey, who I did not see, I went searching for him high and low, and I could not find him today. But because next week is
March Madness.
March Madness. My dear friend Keith Bailey sent me an email and said, hey, I have a little something for you. I am going to give you this book that has been signed by Coach Wooden, and you can do it during your 50-50 drawing. So to get this book autographed by Coach Wooden next
next week, you'll have to buy more tickets for the 50-50, and then the first ticket that's drawn will have their choice of either drawing the cards or they can have the book, and then we'll do a second drawing for whichever one goes that way, the other way.
We'll do
All
a
right.
second drawing either way.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, it was predicted by Barney that next week is the lucky week.
And he
So
did that
we'll
in
see.
October.
He did that in October, but today could be your day. If you bought a ticket, it could be today. So we just don't know. It's
So
so
that means
exciting.
he's putting the Joker in the deck finally.
Finally, yeah. I look every week just to make sure. No, Barney's a trooper. Thank you, Barney, for doing this for us all this time. Okay, now, some of you may or may not have read my email last night, but Trudy, where's Trudy? There's our friend Trudy. Trudy, you need to be best friends with Trudy, because guess what? Trudy works for BOK Center, and she's got she got tickets to things. Just kidding. You should be Trudy's friend, because Trudy is amazing. But we have Miranda Lambert tickets that were donated by Trudy and the BOK Center to us to auction off. These are the third level BOK Skybox. You have to have a really nifty wristband to even get in that area. So, you know, all the other people won't be there with you. And it's 2 seats in the Skybox this Saturday, March 11th. So, our auctioneer, John, since I failed at that, he's going to go ahead and I'd like to have a starting bid of at least $75. So
Okay, do
can
we
you
have a
do
bid
this?
for $75, 2 tickets, BOK Skybox? I got 75 over here. Do I hear $100? Anybody got $100, $100, $100? Anybody have $100? Back there, 125. Anybody have 125, 125? Oh, don't raise your hand like that, Don. You're going to bid. I got 125 here. How about 140? 140, got 125 looking for 140, got 140 back here. 140 looking for 150, 150, 50. Was that a yes? I got 150 here, 150 looking for 160, 150 looking at 160. Got 160 back there. How about 175? Looking for 175. Got 160 looking for 175, 175, 75. Got 160 looking for 75. Going once, going twice. Sold to Miss Donna for 160.
Woohoo! One of Miranda's biggest fans, Donna. And so before I go, I just want to give a shout out to Forrest Cameron. Today is his birthday. Forrest, raise your hand. He has paid for a slide that will be shown next week, but today is his birthday. So give him a big pat on the back and tell him happy birthday today. Thank you all very much. I always appreciate your donations and your patience while I'm up here. So
Thank you. Thanks, Catherine. We have a couple of sponsors today we want to recognize. Joe and Lynn Moore and David Dopp from Moore Funeral Home and Terry Carell from the Tulsa Zoo. Let's give them a big hand. Good picture, Terry. We have a couple announcements today. On behalf of the club, I want to express condolences to Joe Moran on the passing of his mother, Joan, on Saturday, February the 25th. Services were Saturday, March the 4th. There's cards on your table to express your sympathies to the Moran family and to Joe. And as some of you already know, longtime former member and attorney Stephen Smith passed away this Sunday. He recently left the club because of health, but he's still part of the family. And Lindsay Dunn is related to Stephen by marriage, so there's a connection there that we want to really reach out to that family and send condolences to them as well. We have a couple of, well, actually 3 committee meetings today. We have Club Foundation Grants in room 232, Long Range Planning in 234. And if you're in town next week and you want to be ornery and fun with me, come up to room 233 after the meeting, and I'll give you work that isn't work. And it won't take much of your time, so I would appreciate any drop-ins I can get on that. We're going to have a blast for the program on March the 15th. That's next week. Now for a project announcement, can I have Miss Past President Linda Bradshaw come forward?
Good afternoon, Rotarians. What a great meeting today. I tell you what, she's amazing, and we're lucky to have someone like her in the field of sports. I'm sorry I couldn't say that to her, but she had to run away. I am here to announce to you that our fireside will be held during April week 17th to the 23rd. That coincides with the Tulsa Garden Show tour week. And I understand that one of our host homes is actually on that tour. So on your tables, you'll find up a sign-up sheet if you would like to participate this year as one of our hosts for Firesides. A Fireside is an annual event designed by our club to promote fellowship among its members, to learn a little bit more about Rotary, and to discuss issues that are pertinent to our club. Most of the firesides last anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes, with the mentor providing questions and discussions on topics that will facilitate planning for the Rotary Club of Tulsa and leadership as our leadership prepares for next year. And I know that President-elect Mike Coleman would certainly appreciate your input as he steps into leadership next year. Traditionally, our hosts have chosen evening meetings in their homes. However, venue locations such as a restaurant or an office, and also our hosts select their own times and evenings to accommodate their own schedules. So if you would like to offer to host a small group of anywhere from 10 to 12 Rotarians during the week of April the 17th, please sign up today. You know, it was 20 years ago that I attended my very first fireside. I did not know what a fireside was, but it was on the table and it said, sign up for a fireside, and I wanted to be a good Rotarian, and so I signed up. My location and my host lived on Terwilliger Boulevard, and Dr. Hal Calhoun was my first host fireside to go to. Those of you who remember Dr. Howell know that that was a fireside of all firesides to remember. So I'm encouraging you to sign up and be a good host. You know, for me, that was a great introduction to Rotary, and it was very inspirational, and maybe why I love Rotary as much as I do. So I thank you, Dr. Howell, for that. Please do sign up, and I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. My first fireside last year was with Will Smith. And we had a great time and got to see the sunset over the river. And you never know what to expect for your firesides. So please sign up, and remember you can do your home or an alternate location. In my case, it'd have to be an alternate location. All my kids have bounced back. So, and they won't valet, and they won't clean up, and they won't cook. So, we might have a fireside about 30 seconds long on the zip line at Post Oak. How would that work? I want to go to our upcoming programs real fast and talk about them while Catherine's coming back up. March the 15th, that's next week. If you're here for spring break, you have to come to this meeting. You have to come with fun on your brain. You have to come with team sports paraphernalia on your body somewhere if you can. Shirts, hats, pens, boots, whatever, scarves, just whatever you can get away with. And we're going to have a fun celebration of our Rotary International projects and fund. So come join us for that. It'll be a big time. We're going to revolve around March Madness for that meeting. So again, if you have an opportunity to come help with the organization of that, we'll give you something fun to do after the meeting today. On March the 22nd, David and I my program chair, had lunch with Tom McKeon, City Year, about a year ago, and I'd never heard of City Year. Anybody heard of City Year? Oh my goodness, I'm stupid. Okay.
No comment.
So if you've heard of City Year, you know it's a great project. Tom has got a great personality. It'll be a fun program, and you'll get to learn a lot about a hidden jewel in Tulsa. And then the next week we have Rachel Pappy. She is an attorney for the IRS, and I hear is a dynamo. So she's going to have a lot of great stories about some interesting cases. That'll be a fun one. So let's go into our 50-50 drawing now.
All right, I would let our beautiful past president draw for us today. Is that okay, Casey? I would have let you, but you know, I've got her right here. All right, and our number is 9555291.
291. Oh, it's almost Luann.
I know, she's like
But it's not, 291.
faking me out.
We have a winner making his way up front.
Wait, we have a winner who doesn't have a name tag on. Doesn't he know that those of us who never remember anybody's name, now I'm going to tell you a little secret. This man handed me $50 cash just a little while ago because it's been his birthday. Is this amazing? Don't you love this?
That is amazing.
I love this. No, I mean, I love it when things like this happen.
But now I think the whole thing's been rigged.
You know what? My integrity is about the only thing I have left, okay, after this year. So no, nothing's been rigged, and there is a joker in the deck. So,
Okay.
All right, are you ready for this? Sure. Make your birthday wish
So we're
come
up
true.
around $3,000 now?
3509.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, this is big money. Big
Okay.
money, people. If you didn't buy a ticket, could have been Tony. Be Tony, buy a ticket. Okay, you ready? Let's make them all look alike here, or as much as possible.
Tony, we're so sorry and so glad at the same time.
Okay. The tension is building. The tension is
Can we
building.
see the Joker? I'm just curious. I don't really know what it looks like. That's why I'm asking.
Since nobody else has been able to show the Joker, let me show it to you. You ready? Bam.
Okay.
Bam. There it is. Camera. Oh, let's see.
Okay, according to
Okay, there we go.
statistics, the Joker will hit next week or the week after.
Yes, Barney, I have a confident, he highlights it in yellow every week. Honestly, he does. He wants me to say that every week. Now, Barney's got this whole ticket selling thing that he does where if you buy a certain amount, he gives you a few tickets free. And, I'm not going to get into all that because that's not my deal. But if you want to start bringing some big money, Barney will hook you up.
He's a wheeler dealer. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where his integrity is, but that's not my problem. That's Barney's, so just kidding.
So
Just kidding.
come next week. We're going to have a blast. It will involve gym horns and whistles and referees and cheerleaders, just to whet your appetite. And we'll also highlight some great programs and great works for the club. We'll have a John Wooden book tied to the 50/50, so bring your loose dollars. And for today, we are adjourned.